Are you wanting to save time sorting through a used bulk lot of Lego? Or think there must be a better way to organise and store your Lego? In this video, we're going to provide you with the ultimate guide to sorting used Lego. We're going to look at the full process for a Bricklink seller, but we're also going to provide insight for Lego enthusiasts who might just want to organise or store their Lego better. This is going to be more like a conversation though. You will learn tips and tricks to better enhance your process of organising Lego. And we're going to pose questions throughout the video so that you can decide ultimately what works best for you. So here is our process from start to finish, all the way from buying to storing. Our first step is to buy the bulk lot. Then we're going to do a pre-sort or a minifigure grab. Then we'll try and identify any sets we might have before we sort our pieces into categories. We're then going to look at cleaning and the process of cleaning them, inventorying and software we can use, and finally storing our Lego. The first step in our process is to buy carefully. So let's first consider these two used lots. In the first one, we've got a large range of bulk pieces and minifigures that seem to have no similarity to them. They're a very mixed lot, and it's hard to identify if there are any sets in them. In the second lot, you can tell quite clearly that there's a Harry Potter theme in there. Obviously there are some instructions, but some of the sets are already fully made, and some of the minifigures are even inside some of the parts. So what questions should you consider when buying a used lot? So firstly, what is the actual size of the lot? Ideally, you're looking at around 250 to 300 Lego pieces per pound that you buy, or 600 to 700 pieces per kilogram. If we go by a base of 5 cents per piece, then ideally you're trying to buy a pound of Lego under $12.50 and a kilogram under $30 to get value for money. What's the condition of the used lot? What can you see in the photos? Do not buy blind. Can you see any discoloration or sun damage? Are there any broken or cracked pieces? Anything that looks like it doesn't belong there that's not actually Lego? And what's the state of the pieces? Are they dirty? Are they clean? Are they dusty? These are valid questions to ask when buying a used lot. And doing this right at the start can save you an immense amount of time and money when sorting. Then we're going to do a pre-sort or a minifigure grab. At this stage, we're looking to identify as many different minifigures as we possibly can from the used lot. In this lot here, we want to try and separate them out, and you can see that there is a range of pieces in here. And from here, we were quickly able to identify this Dr. Doom, which is valued at $40.92, as well as this Green Goblin, which is valued at $19.18. So why should you even do a minifigure grab to start with? Well, minifigures are likely to be the highest value item in your lot, so it makes sense that you start with them as they're the ones that are going to provide you the most value. Even if you're just after parts, reselling the minifigures can free up some money for you to spend on, well, more Lego. As a Bricklink or Lego seller, you always need to focus on the items that provide the most value. The question you need to ask yourself is, how long do you do this for? We like to do between 5 and 10 minutes focusing on complete minifigures. After that, and we can't find anything, we're looking for torsos, legs, and any heads that we can find in the bulk lot. Hair pieces can be quite difficult to find as they often merge in with the other colours in the used lot, so save that for when you do a later sort. Our next step is to identify any sets. If we can figure out the sets in our used lot, it helps us to bring up a list of inventory of the pieces a lot quicker, but it also shows us that we might have multiple quantities of that same piece. Again, you can see a Batman set here. We could quite easily identify that set, bring up a list, and that helps our sorting process. To help you find out what sets you might have, consider finding 8 to 10 printed tiles in the used bulk lot. These tiles are usually unique to 1 or 2 sets, and so can go a long way to help you identifying what kind of parts might be in there. That gives me a quick idea of the potential value in a used lot. And if you're someone that buys multiple lots and have them arriving at the same time, it can help you identify which one you want to sort through first. And the tools that we use to help identify these parts are BrickMonkey and BrickOwl. BrickOwl seems to be more accurate for finding the correct part and gives you a list that you can scroll through, whereas BrickMonkey's list can often have random parts. Here's an example of us using both tools trying to find the correct part. So on the left hand side we have BrickMonkey and on the right hand side BrickOwl, and both we can use a camera to take a photo of the part and identify it. BrickMonkey is a little bit slower generally clicking through, but you do get a good selection of the colors, and you can click through and find out different sets quite quickly. Recognize links directly to Bricklink, and if that's a page that you're more familiar with, it can be a really good tool to identify parts and whether you have them in stock or the price that they are sold for. Once you've identified potential sets, it's time to start sorting parts into categories. And we use a method that involves 16 different categories, and here you can see a photo of us starting to sort through those different categories. And using tabs like this is a really good way of sorting. And what we want to do at this stage is really start to split up our parts into identifiable category types. And programs like Brickstore have these already set up under things like plates and bricks and slopes. And what we want to do is have broad categories that we can put into tubs, but we don't want to be too specific because we will need a large number of containers if that's the case. So to get to these sorting categories, I spent many hours watching various different methods of how to sort used Lego. What I found though is having a higher number of sorting categories can actually make you waste time while you're sorting. I was spending too long thinking about which category and which container I needed to put it in, rather than just sorting. This system is based off one created by David West, and I'll put the links in the description below so you can go and check out his method. So here are our 16 different categories. Our first category of bricks, we're looking for any type of brick. Modified bricks are looking for any type of brick without studs on the side, because we use those in the snot category, the studs not on top. And we're also looking for brackets and things like that. Then we've got plates, any 1x or 2x plates, and then we've got larger plates. Modified plates are any plate with any sort of variation to them, except for round, that's its own category. Slopes, we're looking for either curved or inverted slopes or normal slopes. Tiles are any tile, whether they be round or square or rectangular. We've got vehicle parts, we've got openings, so things like doors, windows, frames. We've got bars and sticks. Technic, nature, which includes plant types and animals, minifigures, and then also a category for ones we're just not sure of. I know there are lots of methods out there that also involve you sorting into 7 or 8 categories. I find that this is too limited and doesn't help you actually identify the parts that you have. So the question you need to ask yourself is which one is going to work for me? And I'd encourage you to try out different methods that we mentioned below, as well as our process to see what actually works best. From here, it is a lot easier to identify the exact part and upload them using software like Brickstore. So now let's take a look at our cleaning process. Don't do that, please. Whatever you do, do not do that. The question we're thinking about is, should I clean the Lego? And the answer is, you might have to if it looks like this, but why did you buy that in the first place? If you did, there is a solution. Using a toothbrush like this, you will be able to clean off the dirt, but you'll take a lot of time scrubbing. So when you're thinking about should I clean Lego, the answer is really maybe. If there are pieces like this that have a lot of dust on them, then this process should help you solve that problem. First, pour them into a bowl or a large dish in the sink. Fill that up with a warm, not too hot, not too cold temperature of water. From then, we use a simple dishwashing liquid to just pour a little bit into the bowl and start to mix that around after filling it up with water. You want to mix it around for about 30 seconds and then leave it for about half an hour. Pour it into a sieve or something that can drain the water out of it. And what you really need to make sure you do at this stage is wash the excess soap off. If you don't do this, then the pieces may end up dirtier than they first started. Our next step is an absolute time saver, and that is using a salad spinner. By starting to spin around the pieces inside, you'll find that actually the water from the pieces start to go at the bottom, and you'll actually save yourself a lot of time waiting for them to dry. Tip them out onto a towel. Try and spread the pieces around, and after a day or so, flip them around into a different position so that they have a good amount of time to dry. Now that you've identified the parts, it's time to inventory your pieces. To do this, we use a software called Brickstore. It's a free download from brickstore.dev and works on most operating platforms. Once you've downloaded it, you'll get to this screen. From here, open a new file, and if you're a Bricklink seller, you can actually import your Bricklink inventory directly into the program. We then go about identifying the parts, and you'll see on the left hand side that there are a range of different categories already. And once you've identified the part number, it's very easy to click through and find the part that you want. You can either look at this in a list view or in a grid view like we like to do that. On the right hand side, you'll see a list of colours, We can also organize by color or in alphabetical order, which makes it really easy to identify which piece you have in front of you. You can also list the number of quantity that you have, as well as the price. You also see a range of different options and features here that allow you to identify what you've got. The one you need to be focusing on if you're a Bricklink seller is the remarks. You can also do this if you're just trying to store your Lego in a particular location. And we like to give these a 2-letter code followed by either a 2-digit or 3-digit number code. The reason for this is that Bricklink often orders it in this way when it sends out an order, and so it's a very useful way of finding where your locations are for your different pieces. Once you've typed in the remarks, you can obviously add prices on if you want to, or if you're just storing it yourself, it's saved as it is. Now we're going to take a look at our storage options. So now that you've identified all the Lego parts, you need to find a way to store them. The question to consider at this stage is, what storage volume are you getting for the money that you are paying? The first thing we did when we opened our store is we looked at getting these organizers here. They're craft storage boxes that can be picked up in any local craft store. The dividers allow for a good amount of flexibility, and you can add more locations or make the size of your locations bigger depending on what you need. But for bulkier pieces and larger plates, they just do not have the room for them. For those larger pieces, why don't you consider something like this? A bulk storage bin. Those bulk storage bins can be a really effective way of storing larger parts, as it is just one location. You could also use them if you decide to store one type of piece in that location and have multiple different colours of that piece. A word of warning though, be careful when ordering online, because we thought we were ordering more of these and we ended up getting more of these, which is not quite the same size. And when we thought we were getting a couple more of these from a different store, we actually ordered up these ones here, which are a little bit smaller again. Ultimately though, every storage container has a use, and those smaller ones we now use for minifigure parts. The best recommendation though are organisers like this. We picked these up from a craft store in New Zealand called Spotlight, but there are many different places you could purchase them from. We'll put some links in the description below for similar storage containers from places like Amazon or eBay. Some have larger drawers in the bottom, but the ones we use mainly have these small drawers with 2 different sections. It allows us to store a range of different parts, and we like to have more than one colour in each drawer. Having a drawer that slides out easily makes it really easy to pick orders when we get them as a Bricklink seller. The question you need to consider though is, what space do you have? Because that is ultimately going to affect the type of organisers that you buy. We've been working with an extremely limited space for the last few months, and so these Kmart organisers that I mentioned before are the perfect option. I'd encourage you to take measurements of where you're thinking of putting your Lego, and investigate a few different methods before purchasing one. You can also buy one of each type and see what works for you. We then select all of these and we go to the export option if we upload into Bricklink, click mass upload and copy that to the clipboard. Remember to consolidate lots, that means merging them together, and new prices and new remarks for your new locations. Copy and paste it and click verify file. You'll have one more chance to check the quantity and the prices of each part to make sure that you have put them where you want them. Once you're ready, click upload file. So there you have it. That's our process of sorting bulk Lego from buying the bulk lot to then storing it in our storage containers. By now, you should have an idea of ways that you can better enhance your process of organising and storing Lego. In the description below, we'll put some links to some of the different methods and ways of sorting that we mentioned in the video. And if you're enjoying this content, make sure you drop us a comment below and let us know how it has helped you enhance your Lego storing process. And why not consider subscribing to our channel and watching this video here, which is revealing 5 myths about selling on Bricklink.